नमस्कार दोस्तों, सीसी के इस लाइव रिसेट लेक्चर में आप सभी का स्वागत है। मित्रों, जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं कि निरंतर हम आपके लिए कुछ ऐसे विषय लेकर आते हैं जिनको जानने के बाद, जिनको समझने के बाद आपको ऐसा प्रतीत होता होगा कि क्या ऐसा भी होता है। जी हाँ, हम बात कर रहे हैं विज्ञान के कुछ ऐसे विषयों के बारे में जिनसे या जिनको जब हम इस लाइव रिसेट लेक्चर के माध्यम से आप तक पहुँचाते हैं तो हमारी यही कोशिश रहती है, हमारा यही प्रयास रहता है कि इन विषयों में जागरूकता फैले, इन विषयों के प्रति आपकी रुचि बढ़े। तो मित्रों, मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि आज के इस सेशन में हम बात करने वाले हैं अवेयरनेस ऑफ पार्थेनियम हिस्टेरोफोरस। अब आप जानने के लिए ये आतुर हो रहे होंगे कि इतनी बड़ी टेक्निकल टर्म, इतनी बड़ी बात हमने कह दी यहाँ पर इसका अर्थ क्या है। मित्रों, अगर आसान और सरल शब्दों में बात की जाए तो हम आज के इस सेशन में बात करने वाले हैं वीड्स के बारे में, या यूँ कह लीजिए आज हम बात करने वाले हैं खरपतवारों के बारे में। मित्रों, हम बताना चाहेंगे कि इस खास सेशन के लिए हमारे साथ हमारे स्टूडियो में मौजूद हैं डॉक्टर रिति थापर कपूर। बताना चाहेंगे कि ये एक प्रतिष्ठित शैक्षिक संस्थान में कार्यरत हैं, वहाँ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी विभाग में ये कार्य कर रही हैं, पढ़ा रही हैं। आप जैसे तमाम स्टूडेंट्स को अपने ज्ञान के द्वारा ओतप्रोत कर रही हैं। और जैसा कि हम आपको बता चुके हैं कि आज हम खरपतवार के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। हम बात करने वाले हैं कि खरपतवार से किस प्रकार के नुकसान होते हैं और हम इन्हें कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, किस प्रकार से इनसे निदान पा सकते हैं। तो हम बताना चाहेंगे आपको एक बार फिर से कि डॉक्टर रिति थापर कपूर ने खरपतवार पर एक विशेष किताब लिखी है जिसे NBT द्वारा संपादित किया गया है। तो मित्रों, मुझे लगता है कि इनसे बेहतर कोई ना होगा जो खरपतवारों पर विशेष चर्चा कर सकेगा और हमें अधिक से अधिक जानकारी दे सकेगा। तो बिना वक्त जाहिर किए मैं सबसे पहले स्वागत करना चाहूँगी डॉक्टर रिति थापर कपूर का। डॉक्टर रिति, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जी, आपके माध्यम से जानना चाहेंगी सबसे पहले कि खरपतवार क्या होते हैं, किन्हें कहते हैं।
जी, ये खरपतवार ऐसे हैं जो हमें चारों ओर देखने में मिलते हैं, लेकिन आम आदमी इसके बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं जानता है। तो आज ये बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक है जिस पे हम विशेषकर पार्थेनियम पे हम चर्चा करेंगे, बात करेंगे। गाजर घास पे जो हमें चारों ओर देखने को मिलता है, ये बहुत हार्मफुल है क्योंकि बहुत सारे रोग उत्पन्न करता है, जैसे कि आस्थमा, फीवर और कोल्ड, इस तरह के सिम्टम होते हैं, स्किन डिजीजेस। और ये एनिमल्स के लिए भी बहुत हार्मफुल है, लेकिन आम आदमी इसे जानता नहीं है। और इसका हम कैसे इसका मैनेजमेंट कर सकते हैं, आज हम इस पे विस्तार से चर्चा करेंगे। इसके बहुत सारे उपाय हैं और हमें कैसे अवेयरनेस की ज़रूरत है, इसको भी हम लोग देखेंगे। और तो मैं सोचती हूँ कि आरंभ किया जाए। जी, so actually term weed is defined in Oxford Dictionary, that is, it is harmful plant, it is unwanted plant because it is uneconomical, undesirable, and that compete with the crops, okay, for the natural resources such as water, nutrients and sunlight. So these plants are not actually indigenous, can grow everywhere, and it causes the harmful impact on environment. Here invasive weed species, these are aggressive invaders and outside their natural range, and these adversely affect the proper utilization of land, biodiversity and environment. Actually these are their native place is different. These are invasive alien species, and here the figure is clearly showing that total annual agricultural loss in agricultural productivity in India due to weeds, that is 45%, due to insects it is 30%, due to diseases 20%, and due to other pests it is 5%. So maximum loss is due to the weeds. So these are actually the introduced species. These enter in any environment and which is not its native place, and they have a tendency to spread, which may cause damage to the environment, economy and human health. As I already told you that it is very, these weeds are very harmful, and these may adversely affect the environment and animal and human health also. And here the graph is showing on the x-axis we find time, and on the y-axis the area occupied. So when these species introduction occurs, this introduces into a new place. So these colonizes, these establishes and flourish very well. जब ये खरपतवार किसी भी एरिया में घुसते हैं तो बहुत आसानी के साथ अपना एक ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन बना लेते हैं और बहुत तेज़ी से विस्तार करते हैं। इनकी रिप्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी बहुत ज़्यादा होती है और पूरे उस एरिया को में फैल जाते हैं, आसानी से स्प्रेड हो सकते हैं। Here the picture showing that global warming is continuously increasing and it stimulates the growth and development of weeds. Here, as we know, global warming, the problem of global warming is continuously increasing by the increase of Earth's average temperature, and greenhouse gases are responsible for global warming. These are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide and other chlorofluorocarbons. But these conditions are responsible for increase in average temperature of Earth, as well as climate change in the weather pattern. But here all the weeds, these conditions stimulates the growth of such type of weeds or kharpatwars. Now here the figure are showing commonly grown weeds. Here we can find everywhere, like Parthenium hysterophorus, commonly known as gajar ghas, and Cyprus rotundus, commonly known as in regional language that is motha. Then Lantana camara, that is known as white or red sage, and Cannabis sativus, that is commonly known as bhang plant. Okay, so we can find these plants in nature very easily. Now we come to the next important thing, which is Parthenium hysterophorus. It is commonly known as gajar ghas, bitterweed, starweed, white top and feverfew. It is aggressive annual herbaceous weed. The meaning is of the annual is that it completes its whole life cycle, that is from seed germination to seed production in a year, and it grows very fast, so it is also known as aggressive weed, and it belongs to family Asteraceae or Compositae. New name is Asteraceae. So we can find it everywhere. This is the picture of gajar ghas. Now actually the name Parthenium is derived from the Latin word that is Parthenis, means it is taken from the another plant Tanacetum parthenium, which is commonly known as feverfew, and the another species is Hysterophorus, which is again derived from the Greek words. It is combination of actually two words. Hystera phorus means womb bearing, referring to the prolific seeding habit of the plant. So it reproduces very fast, and we can find it all the places. Now here recently Parthenium hysterophorus has got a position among the list of top 10 worst weeds of the world, and it has also been listed in the Global Invasive Species database. So it is one of the 10 topmost weed of the world, which is also known as worst weed, and it has invaded almost all these states in our country from north to south and east to west. In all the places we can find this weed, and approximately more than 35 million hectare of land is covered nowadays by this weed Parthenium. Now if we come to the historical background of this particular weed, so we find that the father of Indian botany, Roxburgh, in 1814 first of all discussed about the Parthenium plant in his book Hortus Bengalensis. And in this way, this weed probably introduced in our country before 1910 through the cereal grain, but it went unrecorded till until 1956, and after 1956 this wheat spread like a wildfire throughout our country. Now this is the picture of Parthenium plant with flowers, with white colored flowers. So there is a belief that Parthenium seeds entered in our country with the wheat grains. There was a scheme which was introduced by USA, the PL 480 scheme, which is also known as Food for Peace. And due to this scheme, that is the Parthenium seeds entered with the wheat grains in our country and spread alarmingly like a wild blaze to almost all the states in our country and established as a naturalized wheat. And first of all, this wheat was observed by Professor Paranjeb in 1951 in Pune, Maharashtra, as a stray plant on rubbish heaps. And first of all, by the Rao 1956, it was considered as a new species in India. So this is about the brief story of Parthenium seeds, how these seeds entered in our country. Now we come to the distribution or habitat of Parthenium wheat. So as I told you earlier that we can find this wheat everywhere. This is noxious wheat which can be spotted on the vacant lands, developing residential colonies around the towns, railway tracks, roads, near the drainage and irrigation canals. We can find this wheat. Here the picture is showing that is the wheat is present in the fields and along the roadsides, everywhere this wheat is present. And distribution of Parthenium wheat, if we see the global scenario, so we find it is present in all the 5 continents, that is in Asia, India, Australia, Africa, North and South America. And also nowadays there is a recent news that it is also present in Europe continent. These are the white flowers, beautiful wheat, Parthenium. Now the special features of Parthenium hysterophorus. So Parthenium wheat grows round the year. We can observe this wheat during raining season, summers and winters. So it completes its life cycle throughout the year. So it can germinate, grow, mature and set seed within 4 weeks. So it has fast reproduction capacity and it shows phenotypic plasticity, means the ability to alter growth form to suit the current conditions. It can survive in all the conditions, in drought condition, in summers, in winter season, in that is low temperature conditions, it can survive very easily. So it has tolerance to wide range of environmental conditions due to presence of its genes actually. Now it has high reproduction capacity, as single plant can produce approximately 10,000 to 5,000 seeds. Seeds are very small in size, light in weight, dark black in color, as we are seeing in the picture, can disperse very easily to far places also. The seeds are mainly dispersed through water current, wind, through animals, grain and the stock feed, that is fodder, and also with the involvement of machinery and vehicles. These can move from one place to another very easily. Now there are many chemicals which are present in Parthenium wheat. Here the structures we are seeing here, that is the vanillic acid, parthenin, fumaric acid, caffeic acid, picoumeric acid, then anisic acid, chlorogenic acid, ferulic acid, hydroxybenzoic. So these are different compounds. These are also known as allelochemicals. These are actually the secondary metabolites. These are present in Parthenium wheat and these are responsible for its toxic nature. Now we come to effect of Parthenium hysterophorus on crop plants. So actually Parthenium wheat contains several chemicals which are also known as allelochemicals like parthenin, ambrosin, and these may produce very toxic impact on neighboring crops. Like parthenin has been reported as it inhibits germination and radicle growth in different monocot and dicot plants, and this weed may also adversely affect the nodulation process in legumes, okay, and also reduces the activity of nitrogen fixing bacteria such as Rhizobium, Agitobacter, Azospirillum. So actually these all bacteria are present in the roots of certain legumes, certain plants, and fixes the free atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate compound, okay, and provides fertilizer for the soil. But all this process gets inhibited due to the presence of Parthenium wheat. Now we come to Parthenium produces large number of pollen grains, and in form of clusters like 600 to 800 grains can easily settle on the floral parts of different crop plants such as tomato, brinjal, bean, capsicum and maize, and inhibits the fruit setting process. And also Khosla and Sobati in 1981 reported that this gajar ghas causes a yield decline up to 40% in different agricultural crops. Similarly, sorghum grain yield losses occurs in between 40 to 90% have been reported due to the presence of Parthenium wheat. Now, health hazards of Parthenium wheat to human beings. So, Parthenium wheat is very toxic due to presence of allelochemicals. It produces several diseases in animals as well as in human beings, such as allergic diseases. The pollen and dust of this wheat can cause allergic contact dermatitis in human beings. Persons exposed to this plant for prolonged period may develop the symptoms of skin inflammation, eczema, asthma, hay fever, black spots on the skin, burning of skin and blisters around the eyes and also on the hands. It may also cause diarrhea and breathlessness. Exposure to Parthenium hysterophorus pollens may cause allergic bronchitis. This is a type of respiratory problem which can produced by the Parthenium hysterophorus pollens. Now, the picture is showing different skin infections on the hands of human beings like blackening of skin we can observe, and also small rashes and blisters on the hands we can observe due to the skin infection due to the Parthenium wheat. Now, Parthenium causes diseases on animals also, such as acute illness, dermatitis, skin lesions in horses and cattle, and eye irritation in dogs. And if it is generally it is not taken as a food material by the animals, but if it is taken as fodder, it is responsible for mouth ulcers in cattle and produces large amount of saliva. And significant amount of this wheat from 10 to 50% of Parthenium wheat in diet of the animals may also kill them. Parthenium extracts which are prepared in the water may also results in significant reduction in the WBC, white blood corpuscles of rat, and in this way it reduces the immunity of rats. The picture is showing different skin infection in human beings, legs of human beings, redness, and in animals it also shows some patches, photodermatitis, and here the asthma also in human beings. And it is also reported that 12 buffaloes were died in Madhya Pradesh, Itarsi, when they taken or eaten Parthenium hysterophorus as fodder. Now we come to control of Parthenium weed. It is very important that there are several methods by which we can control Parthenium weed. It is very actually it is very challenging task. There are several methods like physical methods, chemical methods, cultural methods, biological methods are available. First of all, the picture is showing that is spraying of chemicals to control the weed in the crop fields, physical method by hoeing, and cultural methods. There are traditional methods by spraying some fungal solution, and biological control method, use of insects which can easily feed the Parthenium leaves and this weed. Now one by one, first of all we come to physical control of Parthenium weed. So manual uprooting is one of the way of physical control, and hand weeding, hoeing, but this should be done before flowering and seed setting, then it will be effective method. But these all methods are very time consuming and expensive, as these methods require labor, and they may also produce, these are not actually safe methods because these can produce different diseases and health hazards in the persons who are involved in handling of this weed control program or handling the Parthenium weed. Now burning is another physical control method, but it is again it is not eco-friendly method, as we know. Due to the two reasons, it is not eco-friendly method. It requires large quantity of fuel and it generates different types of gases or fumes, and also burning destroys the other economically important neighboring plants in their vicinity of the Parthenium weed. So it is not safe method and one cannot recommend this method to adopt. Then chemical control method of Parthenium hysterophorus, it is effective method in such places, only those places where its natural enemies are absent. There are different chemical herbicides are available in market such as glyphosate, atrazine, bromoxynil, metsulfuron. These are effective in controlling this weed. But stage and time of Parthenium weed for herbicidal control is very important, as this Parthenium weed can be effectively controlled only at rosette stage, that is the vegetative stage in wasteland and non-cropped areas and roadsides, but not in crop fields. By spraying of the chemicals, we cannot control Parthenium weed in crop fields. Then application of 2,4-D and metribuzin. These are also found effective for controlling Parthenium weed at that is after 15 days of spraying, and it causes completely depletion of Parthenium population. When one another chemical killer 700 is also available in the market, which can, the spraying of this chemical can very easily control the Parthenium weed. But use of all these chemicals is not safe for our environment, human and animal health. In open wasteland or non-cropped areas, roadsides, we can also spray the common salt solution of 15 to 20% concentration. It is also effective, but it can raise the problem of soil salinity. Now there are, we know very, there are many disadvantages of herbicides. There are many reports that farmers use more than 2 million tons of chemical pesticides each year for protection of their crops against the pest worldwide. The use of these chemicals is undesirable, not recommended due to their toxic effect, impact on the human beings, animals and environment. There is evidence that synthetic chemicals or pesticides pose unwanted side effects on the environment, and no segment of the population can be completely protected against the exposure of hazardous pesticides. Here the impact of pesticides of environment we can observe in the slide, that is here the spraying of the pesticide here, and some part is absorbed by the soil and some part biodegradation also occurs through volatilization. Some pesticide part gaseous in vapor form again enters in the environment in atmosphere, and some part after leaching or biodegradation and mixes with the groundwater. So, in this way these pesticides again enters in ecosystem and enters in through the food chain, enters in the human beings. So, it is not safe method. Some pesticides are also known as endocrine disruptors, which are known to produce their adverse side effects on the natural hormones which are present in human body. So, it has also been postulated that their long term exposure causes several harmful effects on human health, such as immune suppression, hormone disruption and reproductive abnormalities as well as cancer also. Again the figure is showing the exposure to different pesticides through the ingestion, through food intake, through skin contact, skin absorption and inhalation, enters in respiratory system, and different parts of the body absorb pesticides at different rate. For example, here head is 4 times more absorbent of the pesticides in comparison to the hand, and genital areas are 11 times more absorbent in comparison to the hand. Now, we come to biological control of Parthenium weeds. So, biological control is environmentally sound method, effective method in reducing the pest population. By the use of the natural enemies, we can apply this method. In the last 3 to 4 decades, a great deal of emphasis has been given to control Parthenium weed through different biocontrol agents such as microbes, botanicals and insects, etc. Among the various biocontrol strategies, biological control of weeds by plant pathogens has gained acceptance as it is safe, eco-friendly method and applicable to agro-ecosystem. Classical method by fungal plant pathogens. So, it is again safe method, but it is traditional method, and we can use different fungus for the control of the Parthenium weed in nature. We can use their culture filtrate, for example, Alternaria alternata, Cercospora, Coletotrichum, Curvularia, Phoma, Puccinia. These can be used very easily, their culture filtrate on Parthenium weed, and Parthenium weed can dry and destroy within few weeks or in a month. But again it is expensive method and it is time taking method, and it is not practically possible in crop fields or in large scale. Now, management of Parthenium weed by insects. In 1983, Indian Institute of Horticulture Research introduced leaf feeding beetle, that is commonly known as Zygogramma bicolorata. It was introduced in India from Mexico. The young larvae can check the growth and flower production of Parthenium due to severe defoliation. So, this insect can easily eat the Parthenium leaves, and Parthenium plant cannot develop. Other biocontrol agents, some insects are also present in nature which can control the growth of Parthenium weed, such as Zygogramma, B is Epiblema, then Listronotus and Carmenta. These are present, and these can eat Parthenium leaf and can destroy Parthenium plant very easily. But there are some limitations of this method, that this insect is effective only 5 months in a year, that is from June to October, and rest of the month it is not active, cannot eat Parthenium leaves. And Parthenium plant, if Parthenium plant present along the roadsides or in the residential areas and covered with the dust, then this plant will not be eaten by this insect Zygogramma bicolorata, and this is the life cycle of Zygogramma: X, young larvae, mature larvae, and the insect, complete insect, and the figure is showing defoliation by the Zygogramma. There is no leaf present on the Parthenium plant, and Parthenium plant can dry within few months after defoliation. Now we come to allelopathic control. So this term allelopathy was given by Molish in 1937. Actually, allelochemicals, I already told you, these are certain secondary metabolites. These are the byproducts of primary metabolism. These do not participate in growth and development of plant, but these may produce, may be useful or harmful effect on another neighboring plant. So these are allelochemicals. So by the help of allelochemicals, we can control Parthenium plant very easily. So this is a type of a biological control method. It is safe. Like competitive replacement we are talking now of Parthenium can be achieved by some plants which are available, very easily available in nature, such as Acacia, Tora, Acacia serratia, Croton, Bonplandianum, Amaranthus spinosus, Hyptis, Mirabilis, Jalapa, and Sida. These plants we can find in nature and these are capable of suppressing Parthenium weed in their natural habitats. The pictures of Amaranthus spinosus, which is commonly known as Cholai, then Acacia tora, that is Chakod, the common Hindi names people know, farmers know very well. Then Tagetes erecta, we know these beautiful plants, Genda, and Bacillum, Ocimum basilicum, this is Tulsi. In every house it is present, Tulsi, and we also worship, this is very holy plant. So Acacia serratia can reduce the accumulation of this harmful weed, Parthenium weed, approximately 70%, and overall population of Parthenium by 53%. In India, crop rotation by using marigold, Genda plant during the raining season has been found very effective way in reducing the Parthenium infestation in cultivated areas. Similarly, the extracts of aqueous extracts in water of neem plant, that is Aza dirachata and eucalyptus, can also inhibit seed germination, growth of Parthenium weed, and control the Parthenium population, and these are safe methods because no toxic chemicals are involved in the whole process. But the best method is integrated weed management method, that is IWM. So this is actually the combination of all the methods, that is physical, chemical, biological, and allelochemicals. It is combination of all the methods, and actually this method is recommended by the scientists. Now this management tactics may be the most effective method to control the Parthenium weed, because under this method all the available techniques have to be integrated as per the location requirement or locally available resources. Here IRI, that is Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, they proposed one protocol, PUSA protocol for Parthenium management in year 2008. And this protocol is recommended, it is safe for the safe eco-friendly method for the control of the Parthenium weed, and they utilize two biological control agents, one insect, that is Zygogramma bicolorata, and one plant, that is Kochia indica. This plant, Kochia indica, belongs to family Amaranthaceae. It is herbaceous plant and it is also ornamental plant. It is very useful. It can be also used as fodder for the animals. So it is recommended as it can completely replace the Parthenium weed. And they also propose the one calendar, monthly calendar, that is from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September and October, November activities due to for the control of the Parthenium weed, that is conservation of beetle at moist area, then uprooting of Parthenium in February month, then monitoring of the bioagents which we are using for the control of Parthenium weed like Kochia and Zygogramma. in April month, shifting of beetles from the moist places, then multiplication of beetles in May, and training about the Parthenium weed. Then we can spray also salt in July season, and in August shifting of beetles from hot spots to new places, then harvesting of the Kochia plant in September month, October then harvesting of Kochia indica seeds, November transplanting of Kochia plant, and in December we can organize such training programs for the farmers and for lay persons about the Parthenium weed. So, these are the monthly activities which can be organized by any institution organization. So, this is the integrated weed management method, which involves all the processes of physical, cultural, biological and chemical control methods. But there are some health benefits of Parthenium weed, that it is utilized by some tribal people as a remedy for skin infections and pain, cold, heart trouble and other gynecological ailments. And also the extracts of Parthenium hysterophorus can be used in traditional medicine to treat fever, neurological disorders, urinary tract infections, dysentery and malaria. Parthenin, which is present in Parthenium plant, which is the major component of this plant, also shows, generally we know that it is toxic and it is responsible for various allergies, but it also shows in recent studies that it shows the anti-cancerous and anti-tumor properties. The methanol extract of the flowers of Parthenium also showed anti-tumor activity, and Parthenium exhibited cytotoxic properties against T cell, leukemia and HeLa cancer cell lines. So, it can be used in the treatment of cancer and tumor. Then aqueous flower extract of Parthenium has hypoglycemic activity against allogen induced diabetic rats. So, this weed can be used in development of drugs for diabetes. As we know, diabetes is a very challenging disease nowadays, but here it can maintain the glucose level in the red blood, the flower extract of Parthenium, and can be utilized in control of diabetes. And Parashar also reported in 2009 that silver nanoparticles can be formed by the extracts of Parthenium weed, and production of such kind of nanoparticles can promote the utilization of this harmful plant into a valuable weed by the nanotechnological based industries in future. So, in this way we can also utilize this weed in different directions. Again, this weed Parthenium hysterophorus is very rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and chlorophyll content, and can be a suitable candidate for composting. Vermicomposting can also be done by the help of earthworms, and it also can be considered as suitable substrate for production of biogas, which is the need of current situation. Now, bioremediation of heavy metals in dye. So, cadmium, there are many heavy metals like cadmium, nickel. These are actually widely used in nature in electroplating, plastic manufacturing, metallurgical process and industries of pigments, and also in battery. These are very toxic, as if these are present in very small amount, these can produce renal disorder, high blood pressure, bone deformity and destruction of RBC or erythrocytes. But here Ajmal et al. In 2006 studied that is dry powder of Parthenium hysterophorus can easily absorb the heavy metals from water extract or another wastewater solution and can remove cadmium and nickel heavy metals successfully. So, can be used for the bioremediation process for the removal of heavy metals and dye in nature or wastewater. Again, some aquatic weeds which are present in ponds and rivers these are problematic, like Salvinia, Pistia, and water hyacinth. So these covers the whole surface of water, and it stops the water flow, and ship cannot move from one corner to another. So these are aquatic weeds are very harmful. Even these can absorb large amount of oxygen and causes in fishes and turtles suffocation condition it generates. So all these can control by the dry powder of Parthenium weed. So that because this type of treatment causes wilting and desiccation of the above water parts of these floating plants. Now it can also be used as flea repellent for the dogs, and also it contains high amount of oxalic acids, potash and protein, may be used in future as animal fodder, but researches are required for this purpose. Now last very important part is awareness program on Parthenium hysterophorus. Parthenium weed, commonly known as gajar ghas, is present everywhere, but most of the people, even farmers, do not know about the morphology and other harmful impacts on human beings, animals of this Parthenium weed. So awareness program at grassroots level should be introduced in the Parthenium infested areas to educate the local communities about the adverse impact of this weed gajar ghas. Proper information should be provided to the people regarding the identification of Parthenium weed, its safe handling and personal protection. So media resources such as radio, television, internet and posters, demonstrations, seminars, such programs and above all participation of a common man is required in uprooting the Parthenium weed, but it should be done before the flowering and seed setting in vegetative stage of the Parthenium weed with all safety measures. So media can play a very important role in dissemination of information about the Parthenium weed among the masses. Emphasis should be laid to adopt biological methods. As we know, we have seen many methods like physical control methods, chemical methods, but one should go for biological control method, that is the combination of Kochia indica and Zygogramma bicolorata, which this also was proposed by, this scheme was proposed by PUSA protocol by IRI New Delhi. So we should adopt this type of technique for the replacement of this Parthenium weed because these are safe and eco-friendly technologies. An integrated weed management approach should be adopted in the place of depending on any single method. Now there are many future strategies for Parthenium management, such as, first of all, it is very important identification of Parthenium hysterophorus infested areas in district and state level. Then removal of this weed along the entire root system before flowering, as this practice helps to keep our environment clean and hygienic. Farmers should be encouraged to make compost and vermicompost with the help of the Parthenium weed, as it is eco-friendly and economical, practically available method. Once Parthenium management program is taken up, so effort should be made to manage it for continuous 4 to 5 years till the complete seed bank of the Parthenium weed is exhausted. Otherwise, all the efforts will go in vain due to its high reproduction capacity. So if we start any program, अगर हम कोई प्रोग्राम शुरू करते हैं पार्थिनियम कंट्रोल का, तो हमें इसे पूरा करना चाहिए और इसे लगातार 5-6 साल तक इसे अपनाना चाहिए किसी भी जगह पे जहां हम टारगेट रख रहे हैं, प्लेस जहां हमें पार्थिनियम को मैनेज करना है. अदरवाइज 1 साल में करने से फिर से पार्थिनियम आसानी से उगाएगा, बिकॉज इसके सीड्स एक लंबे समय तक 4-5 साल तक सॉइल में आसानी से रह सकते हैं. और बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटिटिव प्लांट्स such as Acacia tora, Amaranthus spinosus, Croton, Genda, that is Marigold Tagetes erecta, for separation of Parthenium weed is recommended, and there is need to supply such type of seeds of these plants to the farmers at low cost or even free. और इस तरह की स्कीम्स होनी चाहिए, हमारे कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र हैं जहाँ पे कि फार्मर्स को ये सारे सीड बांटे जाएं, मुफ्त में दिए जाएं, इससे संबंधित सलाह दी जाए, जिससे खाली जगह जहाँ पर पार्थेनियम हो सकता है ऐसे क्षेत्रों में या जब पार्थेनियम उगा हुआ है वहाँ पे इसके सीड डाल देने से वी कैन चेक द पार्थेनियम वीड इन दोज एरियाज. Plantation of marigold plants should be encouraged in residential colonies and office premises. By using marigold, parthenium suppression can be achieved very easily, and on the other hand, aesthetic value of the area can also be maintained. तो अगर हम गेंदे के पौधे अपने आसपास जहाँ पार्थेनियम ज़्यादा है वहाँ लगा रहे हैं, ऑफिस में लगा रहे हैं, घर में लगा रहे हैं, एक तरह से तो इसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे एलिलो केमिकल्स हैं which can inhibit the entry of parthenium seed. Parthenium seed will not germinate or parthenium plant will not develop in such areas where marigold plants are present. और ये ornamental plant है, it can increase the aesthetic value of the area. और इससे हमारा वो एरिया भी खूबसूरत लगेगा अगर हम इसे सजाते हैं. So educating people through awareness program, through lecture, seminar, workshop is very essential and it should be continuous process. एक बार हमने ये कोई प्रोग्राम शुरू किया किसी एक एरिया में, किसी एक जिले में, तो इसे हमें आगे तक ले जाना चाहिए. स्कूल से प्रोग्राम हमें शुरू करना चाहिए. Publication and distribution of leaflets in regional language in different parts of district and state is also very important task. हमें ये भी करना है कि हमें वहाँ की भाषा में जो जहाँ की लैंग्वेज है, जिस स्टेट की, जैसे ये पैम्पलेट है यहाँ पिक्चर में गाजर घास का, ये पूसा ने तैयार किया है, ऐसे ही हमें ये अलग अलग वर्कशॉप्स में बंटवाना चाहिए जिसमें एक साधारण भाषा में, आसान लैंग्वेज में ये समझाया जा सके कि गाजर घास क्या है. और मीडिया इसमें अपनी अहम भूमिका निभा सकता है. इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ मीडिया रिसोर्सेज फॉर रेगुलर ब्रॉडकास्टिंग, पब्लिकेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ पार्थेनियम मैनेजमेंट में बी really a useful effort. So this is all about the Parthenium wheat. अभी हमें इसमें और अधिक शोध करनी है, बहुत आगे तक जाना है, तभी हम कुछ बात बता सकेंगे.
With this note, thank you ma'am, thank you so very much for giving us a very productive session. और इस सेशन के माध्यम से हमने गाजर घास के बारे में बहुत कुछ जानने की कोशिश करी और जैसा कि आपने खुद भी बताया कि हम इसमें बहुत सारा शोध कर सकते हैं. तो वो कौन कौन से एरियाज हैं जिसमें शोध किया जा सकता है?
जैसे अभी मैंने बताया, हमें इंटीग्रेटेड वीड मैनेजमेंट अप्रोच को लेना है जो कि कॉम्बिनेशन है सारी टेक्निक्स का. कोई एक टेक्निक से, क्योंकि ये जो गाजर घास है ये 50 सालों से हमारे देश में है, ये आज की समस्या नहीं है और ये आज और ज़्यादा फल फूल रहा है, ये चारों ओर मिल रहा है, हर ज़्यादा और ज़्यादा हमें दिख रहा है. तो इसका कंट्रोल ठीक से नहीं हो पाया और इसका मूल कारण जो है ये लोगों में इसकी अवेयरनेस नहीं है. हम आप कुछ ही तबका इसे जानता है कि ये हार्मफुल है, बाकी बच्चे यहाँ तक कि गुलदस्ते भी इस पौधे के कई बार तैयार हो जाते हैं. तो ये किस तरह से इसमें सारे टॉक्सिक प्रेजेंट हैं इसके बारे में हमें जानना है. और आजकल इसमें शोध, ये जो नई शोध की आप बात कर रही हैं, हमारी जामिया मिलिया इस्लामिया में इस पे काम हो रहा है. इसके पास बहुत अच्छे जीन्स हैं एंड जीन्स ऑफ पार्थेनियम आर हाईली रेजिस्टेंट टू डिजीजेस. इस पौधे में कोई भी बीमारी नहीं होती है. सो इट इज़ वाइल्ड वेराइटी. दीज आर वीड्स, दीज इंट्रोड्यूस फ्रॉम अनदर प्लेस. ये हमारे देश का नहीं है पौधा, कहीं और से आके बस रहा है और फल फूल रहा है. तो इसके पास कुछ ऐसे जीन्स हैं विच आर वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. इन जीन्स को हम अगर किसी दूसरे प्लांट में डाल दें, है ना, तो वो प्लांट भी बीमारियों से लड़ सकेंगे. अगर जैसे हमें हमेशा टीवी में भी सुनने को मिलता है कि हमारे धान का पौधा नष्ट हो गया या हमारे गेहूं है इस बार फसल कम हुई है, अगर हम इन खाने वाले पौधों में इनके जीन्स, जीएम क्रॉप कुछ इस तरह का बनाते हैं, करते हैं, इस पर शोध चल रहे हैं, तो हम प्लांट को, इस तरह के सोफिस्टिकेटेड प्लांट को हम एक मजबूत प्लांट बना सकते हैं। तो इसके जीन्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसे और क्रॉप प्लांट में डाला जा सकता है।
हम ये कह सकते हैं कि जो गाजर घास जिसकी वजह से बहुत सारे हेल्थ इश्यूज होते हैं, लेकिन अगर इनका प्रॉपर यूज किया जाए तो हम,
जी बिल्कुल,
ये बहुत अच्छी बात हमारे सामने निकल कर आई कि वो घास जिसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे थे, और अक्सर हमने भी यही सुना है और यही बोला जाता था कि ये घास बिल्कुल भी आपके घर आंगन में नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि इस घास की वजह से आपको तमाम तरीके की बीमारियां हो जाती हैं। पर कहते हैं कि जहाँ कुछ समस्याएं हैं, अगर उन समस्याओं को ढूंढ लिया जाए तो कभी कभी हमें उनसे अच्छी चीज़ें भी निकल कर सामने आती हैं।
बिल्कुल, और आम आदमी ये तभी जान सकता है जब उसे इसके बारे में जानकारी हो, उसे समझे। और हमारे कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र इस पर एक मेजर प्रोजेक्ट भी चल रहा है, पूसा इस पर बहुत काम कर रहा है, पूसा प्रोटोकॉल विकसित किया गया है जिससे आम आदमी को इसके बारे में जानकारी हो सके। वो छुए नहीं, छुए भी तो ग्लव्स पहनकर छुए या मास्क रखे, इसके संपर्क में जितना कम हो सके जाए। लेकिन अगर ये चारों ओर है तो हम ऐसी जगहों पे बहुत ही आसानी के साथ, जो अवेलेबल है, गेंदा का पौधा, गेंदे में ऐसे केमिकल होते हैं, अगर गेंदा का पौधा वहां उग रहा है तो उस जमीन पर पार्थीनियम खरपतवार नहीं हो सकता है। तो इस तरह से हम पार्थीनियम की एंट्री अपने घर आंगन में तो रोक सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल रोका जा सकता है। और ख़ास तौर पर जब हम घर की बात करते हैं, वहाँ तमाम घरों में छोटे छोटे बच्चे भी होते हैं और हम यही सोचते हैं कि उन्हें किसी भी तरह की बीमारी ना लगे। पर जिस तरीके से डॉक्टर रीति ने खुद बताया है कि अगर हम इसके उपयोगों की बात करें तो वो जो खास जीन इसमें मिलता है, उसके उपयोग से हम किसी भी शक्तिशाली प्लांट, एक शक्तिशाली प्लांट, हम हाइब्रिड क्वालिटीज़ जो हमारे पास होती हैं उनको शक्ति प्रदान कर सकते हैं इस जीन के जरिए। डॉक्टर रीति, यहाँ पर हमने अवेयरनेस की बहुत ज़्यादा बात की, जैसे कि आपने खुद भी लेक्चर जितनी देर तक हमारा चला है, आपने यही बात कही है कि किस तरीके से हम डिफरेंट मोड्स का सहारा ले सकते हैं, चाहे फिर वो पत्रिकाएं हो, रेडियो हो, टेलीविजन हो। हम इस तरीके के अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स अगर चलाते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं हम लोगों को अवेयर कर सकते हैं। बट जहाँ तक हम बात कर रहे हैं उन किसानों की जो दूर दराज के क्षेत्रों में हैं, उन तक हम इस बात को कैसे पहुँचाएं जहाँ पर शायद रेडियो टेलीविजन के माध्यम से।
वैसे ये आपने बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न किया। ये काम चल रहा है कृषि विज्ञान केंद्रों के माध्यम से, और IRI इस पे बहुत काम कर रहा है। छोटे से फार्मर्स क्लब बनाए गए हैं और वहाँ पे हिंदी भाषा में या जो जहाँ की रीजनल लैंग्वेज है उसमें आम भाषा में गाजर घास को दिखा करके और उन्हें परिचय करा करके पोस्टर्स के माध्यम से बताया जा रहा है कि ये घास कितनी हाँ, हमारा फार्मर कुछ क्षेत्रों में जानता है कि अगर ये घास उग आएगी ये बहुत तेजी से फैलेगी और फिर हमारा जो लास्ट जो हमें प्रोडक्टिविटी या ईल्ड किसी क्रॉप की मिलनी है वो कम होगी, ये वो जानता है। लेकिन वो इसका निदान कैसे करे? जैसे कुछ जगह पर किसानों ने बहुत ज्यादा मात्रा में कहीं से सुना और नमक डाल दिया अपने खेतों में, तो उनके साथ एक और दूसरी ये समस्या आ गई कि वहाँ सेलिनिटी या जिसे हम लवणीयता कहते हैं वो मिट्टी की बढ़ गई, जो एक अपने आप में चैलेंजिंग एक मेन प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमें हर जगह किस मौसम में, जैसे पूसा प्रोटोकॉल है, कब क्या करना है, जनवरी के लिए कुछ अलग प्लान है, फरवरी मंथ के लिए अलग प्लान है, बरसात में हम हाँ नमक का प्रयोग, और वो भी कितना कंसंट्रेशन हो, ज़्यादा अमाउंट में नहीं करना, उसका कुछ घोल बना के करना है जो कि हमारे सेलिनिटी ना पैदा करे। तो वो सब भी हमें देखना होगा और उसके लिए ये कार्यक्रम चलाए जा रहे हैं। लेकिन हाँ, इसमें कुछ और होने चाहिए, जैसे कि समय समय पर हमारे प्रिंट मीडिया में भी और ये लिख करके आना चाहिए जिससे कि किसान इसे जान सके।
बिल्कुल। और जैसा कि आपने लेक्चर के दौरान ही खुद ब खुद ये बताया था कि हमारे पास बहुत सारी टाइप्स हैं, बहुत सारे प्रकार हैं, अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूँ तो क्या ये एक ही प्रकार के हैं या बहुत सारे प्रकार के, अगर हम बात करें इनकी? तो पार्थीनियम तो जो सबसे हानिकारक, पार्थीनियम की बहुत सारी स्पीशीज हाँ,
हैं,
मैं यही कहना चाहती
बहुत सारी प्रजातियां हैं, लेकिन सबसे ज्यादा जो नुकसान पहुंचाता है दैट इज हिस्टेरोफोरस। इसमें रिप्रोडक्शन पावर बहुत है, मतलब ये बहुत आसानी से अपनी संख्या को, एक पौधा है और 1 साल में ये अपनी लाइफ साइकिल कंप्लीट करता है, यानी, और इसके सीड जल्दी नष्ट नहीं होते, इसे सहेज के रखना नहीं पड़ता है, और ये मिट्टी में एक लंबे समय तक 5-6 साल तक ये बीज आसानी से बिल्कुल ठीक मिलते हैं। और जैसे उन्हें अनुकूल कंडीशन मिलती हैं, अच्छी एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस मिलती हैं, तो ये ग्रो कर जाते हैं, नमी होती है। और मैंने अभी आपको ये भी बताया कि ये हमें हर सीजन में, ऐसा नहीं है, हमें समर्स में भी हम अगर इस पौधे को देख रहे हैं तो विंटर में भी हम इसे देख रहे हैं, हाई लो टेम्परेचर पे, और अगर कहीं सूखा पड़ा है तो वहाँ भी ये प्लांट आसानी से फ्लरिश कर जाता है। इसका मेन रीज़न मैंने आपको बताया इसके जीन्स हैं, जिसके कारण से ये इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग प्लांट है और ये आसानी से किसी भी सिचुएशन में रह सकता है।
कह सकते हैं कि ना तो इसका रीजन है ना इसका सीजन है, इसे हम कहीं भी किसी भी मौसम में देख सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और ये हर जगह पाया जाता है। अब तो यूरोप में भी इसने अपने पांव पसार लिए हैं, बस एंटार्क्टिका में नहीं मिल रहा है और हर जगह है, तो यानी इसमें कुछ ऐसी बात है तो कि हर जगह सर्वाइव कर सकता है, कठिन सिचुएशंस में भी रह सकता है।
कठिन सिचुएशन में सर्वाइव कर सकता है। बहुत बार हमने जब इसके प्लांट्स को देखा है तो हमने देखा है कि कुछ दिनों पहले वो बहुत छोटे से थे और अनुकूल परिस्थितियों में भी वो बहुत लंबी हाइट, बहुत ऊंचे ऊंचे पेड़ों में तब्दील हो गए।
यहाँ तक कि हम देख सकते हैं, मैं ये भी दर्शकों को बताना चाहूंगी कि इसकी हर हाइट के प्लांट हमें मिल सकते हैं। हमें छोटा इसका पौध भी, सीडलिंग भी मिल सकता है, वहीं 1 मीटर हाइट के प्लांट भी मिल सकते हैं, वहीं 2 मीटर हाइट के भी मिल सकते हैं। यानी ये साल भर अपनी जो पूरी साइकिल है वो चलाता रहता है, कोई सीजन नहीं है, चारों ओर हर जगह मिल जाता है।
बिल्कुल, हाइट की बात करी तो हमें हर हाइट के पौधे मिल जाते हैं और कई बार हमने अगर इसका घनत्व देखें तो बड़े घने घने पौधे भी जो हैं
पूरी अपनी कॉलोनी बना लेते हैं और आसानी से पूरे एरिया को कवर कर लेते हैं, जिससे वहां और पौधे नहीं उग पाते
जी
हैं।
तो हमें कोशिश ये करनी है कि हम किस तरीके से इस खास तरीके के पौध बोल लीजिए, खरपतवार बोल लीजिए, इसको बढ़ने से रोकना है, जिससे कि हम अपने आप को बचा सकें उन बीमारियों से। और अगर जैसा कि डॉक्टर रीति ने खुद बताया, जिस तरह से शोध पे निकल कर आता है तमाम बार कि अगर हम इसके जीन को इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो हम और पौधों को शक्तिशाली बना सकते हैं। तो मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगी।
तो क्यों ना हम इसके अच्छे गुणों को देखें,
बिल्कुल,
और उससे लाभ उठाने की कोशिश
बिल्कुल
करें।
इससे लाभ उठाने की कोशिश करें, जिस तरीके से हमारे तमाम स्टूडेंट्स हमारे इन लेक्चर्स के माध्यम से लाभ उठाने की कोशिश करते हैं। उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप सभी को हमारा आज का लेक्चर ज़रूर पसंद आया होगा। अगर आप कोई भी फीडबैक देना चाहते हैं इस लेक्चर के संबंध में या फिर कोई प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं तो आप हमें मेल कर सकते हैं info.cc@nic.in। इस लेक्चर को दोबारा देखने के लिए आपको यूट्यूब पर जाना होगा। तुरंत हम यूट्यूब पर इस लेक्चर को आपके लिए अपलोड कर देंगे, जिससे कि आप जितनी बार चाहें इस लेक्चर को देख सकें और कोई प्रश्न हो तो हमसे ज़रूर पूछ सकें। तो इसी के साथ मैं डॉक्टर रीति थापर कपूर का तहे दिल से धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगी। आप आई और हमें जानकारी दी, इसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू।